Hello, everyone. My name is Catherine from SCB Housing, and tonight I'm going to run the lottery for the 8 affordable condominiums at Larkwood in Raynham. And I'll get the lottery underway in just a few minutes. You should have heard when you came into this meeting that the session is being recorded. It is going to be posted to SCB Housing's YouTube channel for anyone who wasn't able to see the drawing that wanted to, that was a lottery applicant. So that's the reason for that. You're encouraged to ask questions. If you have any questions during the presentation, you can unmute yourself. When you came into the meeting, you were muted just to minimize outside noise. And you can also type any questions into the chat function in Zoom. So just for some background information before I do the actual drawing, there's 8 total affordable condos. Like I mentioned, they're all 3 bedrooms. And there was a total of 32 households in this lottery. So we had 32 completed applications. And as I mentioned, they're all 3 bedrooms. 18 of those applicants are type 3 households, which means those households will have the first priority on the waiting list. There are 7 type 2 households. So that usually means that your household is a little bit smaller, not as many household members. So those 7 type 2 households, and then there's 4 type 1 households, which would have the lowest priority on the waiting list. So everyone should have a lottery application number that was emailed to them when your lottery application was approved. And the numbers are between A.001 and A.032 in this case. That's what you're going to see drawn tonight because we don't draw full names or anything for privacy purposes. And a lot of this information I'm giving to you is going to be in writing. You're going to get a email later on tonight with the sorted lottery results, and you're also going to get a just a PDF sheet with who applied and kind of the breakdown that I'm giving you right now. So back when you completed your lottery application, you indicated your household composition and your household type as either 1, 2, or 3, and we confirmed that for you. So like I mentioned, type 3 households will have priority for these 3-bedroom homes, followed by type 2 households and type 1 households. And that's because the affordable housing program is designed so that households don't have priority for units that have more bedrooms than their family might actually require. So because of that, during the drawing tonight, you're not going to know exactly where you fall on the waiting list until the waiting lists have been sorted. So I might pull number A.001 first, and that person could be a type 1 household. That doesn't mean that they're going to be the first household on the waiting list because we don't know if they're a type 1, 2, or 3 household yet. But the good news is I will be sorting the results tonight, so you will get an email from info@scbhousing.com with the sorted waiting list later on tonight. So you won't have to wait too long for those results because during the drawing tonight, you won't know exactly where you fall, but you will once you see that waiting list. When I do the actual drawing, I'm going to be using a website called random.org. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert the 32 application numbers into a function called the list randomizer on that website, and it will digitally generate a random order. That's to keep the results as truly random as possible, and that randomization is going to be instantaneous, so you'll see it on your screen as I'm doing it. I'll be screen sharing, and I'm going to actually show you a demonstration of that now, just so you can see how it will look. Again, this isn't the drawing quite yet, but I do want to share my screen so you can see how this is going to look once we get the drawing going. So just give me 1 second to get to the website, and I'm going to share my screen now. All right. So this is a very basic looking website, random.org. If I scroll down to the list randomizer, this is the box where I'm going to be plugging in the lottery application number. So for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When I do the actual drawing, it's going to be in the format that you're familiar with. So if your lottery application number is A.017, that's what it's going to say. It's not going to say 17. But just for demonstration purposes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 were entered into here. When I click randomize, that's going to be the drawing. So again, this is just for demonstration purposes, but what it's going to do is it's going to spit the numbers back out in a random order. So in this case, number 2 is first, and then it goes from there. So that's what it's going to look like in just a few minutes when I come back into this website to do the actual drawing. This is the information packet, just to reiterate. In this case, there are no other determining factors to where your priority on the waiting list will be. It's just by household type. So as you can see, type 1 is the furthest down the list. Type 3 is the top of the list. So if you're a type 3 household, you will be towards the top of the waiting list. And all right, so I'm going to stop screen sharing just for a moment, and then I will screen share again when I am doing the actual drawing. So like I mentioned, after the drawing is held tonight, I'm going to sort the results. You're going to get an email from info@scbhousing.com, and it's going to summarize the next steps in the process. It's going to have the waiting list attached to the email. And when you receive that email, you're going to notice that the top 23 households on that waiting list are highlighted in green. And let me just make sure I have that correct there. I think it will actually be the top 24 households will be highlighted in green. And that's because even though there's only 8 homes that are a part of this lottery, we invite about 3 times as many households forward to the next step in the process, which is to complete your program verifications with us. So you'd be invited to send in your income, asset, and tax documentation, because when you applied for this lottery, you were only self-reporting what your income is, and you submitted your mortgage pre-approval, of course. So it is possible that you will complete an application and be approved, but you will not have the chance to purchase one of the homes, and that's because like I said, if we're inviting 24 households forward and there's only 8 homes, unless people ahead of you on the waiting list drop off, you may not be able to purchase one of the homes. But rather than wait and just screen one person or 8 people at a time, we want to make sure that the process is moving forward for everyone. So you're not waiting around to find out if you will qualify. Because usually what happens is, there's 8 homes. It's not usually just clean and the first 8 households are approved and follow through with the full process. So just a final note before the drawing, everyone would need to maintain eligibility through closing. So remember to hold on to or just know where you can access, pay stubs or benefit statements or anything, because we will be asking to update your income information about a month before your closing date. So that's right around the time you get your mortgage commitment. And the purpose of that final review is to just confirm that you're still eligible for the affordable housing program and that your income hasn't changed drastically between when you applied for this lottery and during your closing. And then, of course, SCB Housing will be involved through the closing, and following the lottery, you'll be in touch with the sales team to schedule a tour, reserve one of the homes, sign your purchase and sale agreement, and all of that. Any questions before I do the drawing? So again, there's 32 households, 32 application numbers are going to go into the list randomizer that I showed you on the website there, and the results from the drawing will be sorted onto the waiting list tonight, and you'll know more at that point if you're one of the top households on the waiting list or one of the top 24 households who will be invited to the next step in the process. If you're not, if you're towards the bottom of the waiting list and you're not going to be called forward, then people ahead of you on the waiting list will need to drop off for one reason or another. Either they are not qualified, or they decide that they no longer want to purchase one of the homes, and then you would potentially move up the waiting list.
I'm sorry, I just came to the meeting. I missed. When is the date that we're gonna hear results?
Tonight. So I'm doing the drawing in just a minute. So the drawing isn't going to tell you a whole lot because we don't know until we sort the results onto the waiting list who's a type 3 household, and those households have priority on this waiting list. So, but yeah, in the next few hours, you'll have an email sent to the email address that you applied through,
Right.
and you'll know more.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yep. Yep, Allie? Was that your question? I'm not sure who was
Yes, I do.
before.
I was just wondering, because it's 8 households, are you going to draw the 8 numbers and those 8 people automatically get it, or just everyone's going on the waiting list? So say you called a certain number for the top 8, those 8 people aren't automatically getting the house?
Right. Everyone's going onto a waiting list. Excuse me, just one second. Sorry about that. Yeah, to answer your question, everyone is going to be drawn. Every lottery household is going to be drawn in the lottery tonight. Everyone's going to have a placement on the waiting list. The first 8 numbers that I draw won't necessarily be the first 8 numbers on the waiting list because we don't know if they're type 3 households, type 2 households, or type 1 households. Since there's 17 type 3 households, we know that the first 17 households on this waiting list are going to be type 3 households. So if you're a type 2 household, households ahead of you on the waiting list will need to drop off for you to be able to purchase one of the homes. Even if you're number 9 on the waiting list, someone ahead of you would need to drop off for you to be able to purchase one of the homes, which is very likely because usually not everyone follows through or is eligible in the end. Any other questions? All right, so
where do you find your lottery number?
So your lottery number should have been emailed to you when you were approved for the lottery. So the email that you got saying you're approved, you're a type whatever household, here's your lottery application number. And it should have also had a link in the email that was a link to the documents that you should be gathering for the program certification. So that would have been, there isn't a date that it would have been sent out because it would depend on when your application was approved. So I don't have like a date for you to search in your email.
Okay.
But if you don't know what it is, you can send me a message, private message in the chat here, or you can send an email to info@scbhousing.com and I'll make sure to respond to that tonight with your lottery application number so you know what it is.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm going to share my screen again now, and you're going to see just an Excel spreadsheet that is where I'm going to copy the application numbers from. So this is just the 32 lottery application numbers here. It goes down to 33 just because we have that heading here. And I'm going to go back to random.org. And I'm going to go to the list randomizer, and this is going to be the drawing. So this is the lottery drawing for the 3rd phase of Larkwood in Raynham. And I'm going to go over to this again, and I'm going to copy and paste the 32 application numbers. And just bear with me for a second when the results come out because I'm going to put them in a format that's a little easier to read. All right, so all 32 application numbers are here. I'm going to click randomize, and it's going to randomize the numbers, and that will be the lottery drawing. If you don't see your lottery application number at first, I'm going to scroll down. while I'm screen sharing so you're able to see it. So I'm going to click randomize here. All right, so those are the results of the lottery drawing. I'm copying these because I'm going to put them in the Excel sheet just because it's easier for you to read, and I'll be able to sort them from there. So just bear with me 1 second while I make this a little bit easier. Spacing it out here so you're able to see it. All right, so I'm gonna, well, actually it's pretty large right now, make it a little bit bigger. So these are the results. It is not the waiting list yet though, because I haven't sorted the results on the onto the waiting list. So we don't know if these top 8 numbers are all type 3 households or if they are a mix. So I'm gonna scroll down to 32 so you're able to see where your lottery application number was drawn during this lottery. And then later on tonight, you will get a email with the waiting list, the sorted waiting lists. And then separately, probably on Monday, you will, if you're one of those top 24 households, you will get a separate email from my colleague, Abby, who will be requesting your, or inviting you forward to submit your program certification information. So pay stubs, tax returns, that sort of thing, so we can verify that you're eligible for the Affordable Housing Lottery. I'm sorry, not for the lottery, for the program. So was anyone not able to see where they were drawn? And again, you'll get an email tonight with more information on next steps, and you'll see the waiting list and where you fall on the waiting list. Scroll down one more time. All right, so you can expect to hear from us. And again, the email will come from info@sebhousing.com, and it will be going to the email address that you applied through. If you don't have your lottery application number, you can email info@sebhousing.com, and I will make sure to get it for you so you'll know what to look for on the waiting list. This is just a question here. If you're a tier 3, so that would be type 1 household, so smaller household sizes, and you see your number within the first 8, can you assume you'll be able to apply? No, unfortunately. So if we're inviting 24 households forward, I think I mentioned this is actually what's going to be coming to you. Oh yes, if you're type 3, yes. Yep, you'll be one of the top households on the list. If you're a type 3 household and you're towards the top of this list, yes. Mm-hmm. And you'll get that email from SEB inviting you forward probably on Monday. But yeah, if you're a type 1 household, unfortunately, and you're in the top, 8 here, you're still going to be towards the bottom of the waiting list because of the priorities here. You're the third priority if you're a type 1 household. Any other questions? All right, if not, you can expect to hear from us in a few hours, and feel free to reply with any questions. Thanks for joining, and we'll be in touch. Have a good night.